the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse, mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running toes, they gon' take a few to lose. Built to win, applied myself, I felt it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win, yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Applied myself, I felt it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in, yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win, yeah. Refuse.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back with another episode. And today, we got 5 games to talk about in college basketball between tonight and tomorrow. So we got 3 today, 2 tomorrow, 1 including Michigan State playing Purdue tomorrow. So definitely going to bring you those 5. I could have did more. I kind of didn't want to talk about the same teams repetitively. Arkansas, Texas A&M is another game to look out for today, but I've covered them so many times ad nauseum, so I didn't want to talk about them. And Ohio State, Iowa, also talked about them a ton, so I didn't want to talk about them. So I found games to where I had a good amount where I didn't have to cover the same teams, and 3 of them are actually mid-majors, so we'll get into those in a little bit. Actually, we'll just jump right in right now. So first game I have for y'all comes on in about 35, 40 minutes. Now, it depends how you feel. This could be a mid-major showdown, or I call it the new Power 5 until the Pac-12 comes back. Which I don't even know if they're going to call the Pac-12 a power conference, but they were part of the Power 6 for me when there was the Pac-12. We got UConn and St. John's. The Big East to me in basketball is, well, it's no football conference, but the Big East to me is a power conference. So I don't really consider them a mid-major program, but some do, some don't. Depends on who you ask. But we got St. John and UConn tonight, 7 o'clock. UConn is now the home team. Also, while we're talking about that area, man, hopefully if you're in that area, due to the amount of snow you had, you're fine, you're okay, you got your way out. Hopefully y'all good, because I heard it was crazy up in that area. So hopefully y'all are safe. But St. John's actually comes into this one beating UConn at home earlier this same month. So UConn is looking for revenge as 5.5-point home favorites. Now, St. John's, they're led by Zuby Ejiofor. Zuby Ejiofor is averaging 15.9 points per game, 7.2 rebounds, 1.2 steals, and 1.9 blocks. St. John is also on a crazy win streak right now. Excuse me. I want to say it's 10 plus, but I'll find the exact number because I can't remember off top the exact number of games that St. John's is currently winning. But while I look for that, they're also led by Bryce Hopkins. Bryce Hopkins is averaging 14 points per game, 6.1 rebounds, and 1.1 steals, And Osiah Sellers averaging 10.9 points per game. And their X factor to me is Dylan Mitchell. Dylan Mitchell, when Dylan Mitchell was going, when he's rebounding, when he put the ball in the basket, when he's going, this is normally a great thing for the St. John's Red Storm. So he's my X factor today, as I found the win streak. It is currently at 13. He's averaging 8.7 points per game and 7.2 rebounds, tying Zuby for the most boards per game on the team. So he's my X factor for St. John's. While UConn, with this win, would be tied. Well, actually, they'll take a half-game lead over St. John's with a win tonight. They lose their game and a half behind St. John's, which it doesn't look like anybody will be in St. John's way for outright Big East title. Now, they do have Villanova next after this, so that'll be a big one. But UConn, they need this win, in my opinion. They're led by Solo Ball, averaging 14.2 points per game, 3.5 rebounds. Alex Caravan, averaging 12.9 points per game, 5.3 rebounds. And Terrence Reed, averaging 13.6 points per game, 7.6 rebounds, and 1 steal and 2 blocks. Now, their X factor to me is going to be Silas Demery. His ability to not only score the ball, but facilitate. He's leading a team, averaging 6.5 assists per game. He's also averaging 11.4 points per game. When the game gets slow and when UConn needs offense, and if they can't go on one, they need Demery to facilitate and run the offense to get open shots for people. But my winner, with the severity of this game for UConn, backs against the wall. You know what they say when you back a dog against the wall, he's going to bite you, or back a dog in the corner, he'll bite back. A Husky is a dog, going UConn. First of all, it's going to be a battle of two great coaches, Coach Hurley and Coach Pitino. Battle of two great coaches. But I do feel like UConn was getting out. I'll say this. When UConn was trying to grab control of the game in New York, I do believe the home crowd of New York helped get St. John's back into the ball game. If UConn can just grab some momentum in this ball game with the help behind the home crowd of the UConn Huskies and their faithful, I do see UConn pulling away from this game late in the ball game. I see it being a back and forth game throughout the entirety of the first and most of the second half. But if UConn can just grab some momentum late half, I can see them pulling away enough to win this ball game late game. So give me UConn to win this ball game. Next, we have, now this is for sure mid-major, ain't no doubt in this, Santa Clara and St. Mary's. Santa Clara needs this game because they've lost only 2 games in conference, and both of those are to Gonzaga, while St. Mary's actually needs this because they lost to Santa Clara in their first game at Santa Clara, and they also lost to Gonzaga. So St. Mary's need this one if they want to have any chance of the WCC. I think that's if the WCC is still up for grabs. I meant to look at that before the show, but I think it's still up for grabs for the moment. Oh, no. I think it's over. Gonzaga actually might have won it. No. Santa Clara and St. Mary's are both one game behind St. Clair. So the winner of this, of Gonzaga, excuse me. So the winner of this stays a game behind Gonzaga. Now, Gonzaga, side note, we're going because we only got that like 2 games left in this conference tournament regular season, has Portland, who they have revenge on their mind, and St. Mary's to end the season. So if St. Mary's wins this, they play Gonzaga, assuming Gonzaga beats Portland, for I want to say a title, a share of the WCC, because I don't remember St. Mary's. I take that back. I think St. Mary's lost to Gonzaga. St. Mary's lost to Gonzaga. When did they play? Earlier this month. They lost by that's Santa Clara, excuse me. They lost to them. Oh no, they didn't play. My apologies. I thought they played. It looks like they have not played. So the winner of that game would win the WCC if St. Mary's win. If Santa Clara wins, then oh no, they did play. They played last month. Okay, they end last month. Gonzaga beat Santa Clara by 8. So they'll win a share of the title unless, I don't know, the tiebreakers and stuff like that. But if Santa Clara wins, then Santa Clara needs help to win a share of the title and or the title outright. But anyway, I digress. The winner of this keeps pace in second place. And we're going to start with Santa Clara, led by Christian Hammond, averaging 16.4 points per game and 1.3 steals, who actually had 25 points the last time Santa Clara and St. Mary's played. He led the way completely for the Broncos. Elijah Mahi, averaging 14.4 points per game, 4.4 rebounds, and 1.5 steals. Allen Graves, averaging 11.1 points per game, 6.6 rebounds, and 2.1 steals, and 1 block, who is questionable from what I saw with an ankle injury to play in this ball game. So just be on the lookout for that. The X factor to me is going to be Bucky Oboye, helping dealing with Paulus, Marcelonis. Is it Marcelonis? Paulus, yeah, that's not Marcelonis. It's I always struggle saying his name. Marskowskis, whatever. Dealing with Paulus' size. Also the other size of St. Mary's. Because St. Mary's has, I believe, 2 other 7-footers. So he's going to be big in that. He's going to have to help deal with that size. He may play extended minutes in this ballgame. Now for St. Mary's, they're led by Paulus, averaging 19 points per game, 7.6 rebounds per game. Mikey Lewis averaging 13.1 points per game. And Joshua Dent averaging 13.2 points per game, 5.7 assists, and 1.7 steals. Now, my X factor for St. Mary's is Austin McKeever. He's going to have to dominate the paint with Paulus, averaging 8.6 points per game and 9.2 rebounds per game. He's a 7-footer. So I think he'll be big in this one. Now, my winner, going St. Mary's, man. I think St. Mary's gets revenge at home. St. Mary's is a tough team to beat, but they're even tougher to beat at home. They are currently 15-0 at home. So that's going to be a tough task for Santa Clara. They have an opportunity to finish undefeated at home if they can beat Santa Clara and Gonzaga, which we'll talk about that Gonzaga game Saturday. But Santa Clara, man, is so far undefeated at home. Not Santa Clara. St. Mary so far undefeated at home. Give me the Gales to win this ball game. Next, we have a battle for potentially first place in the Mountain West. I say potentially because it'll be a tie between San Diego State and Utah State. If San Diego State wins, but if Utah State wins, they will be 2 games in front of both New Mexico and San Diego State. So I kind of just spoiled it. Who I'm talking about? I'm talking about Utah State on the road taking on San Diego State tonight at 11 o'clock on FS1. San Diego State is actually 1.5-point favorites in this ball game at home. Utah State is coming off a tough home loss to Nevada, which Nevada just won a tough, hard-fought ball game. Against New Mexico last night. That was a tough comeback for them in the second half, down as much as 9 at one point. Came back, went on an 11-0 run. Had a spectacular last 4 minutes of the ball game, but I digress. Utah State, they are led by MJ Collins, a potential player of the year candidate, him and his teammate as well, Mason Farslab. But MJ Collins is averaging 17.9 points per game. Mason Farslab is averaging 16.1 points per game, 5.6 rebounds and 2.1 steals. And Drake Allen averaging 7 points per game, 4.8 assists and 2.1 steals per game. Now, that X factor to me is going to be Carson Templin, and his scoring off the bench averaging 9 points per game. I think when stuff gets critical, because things can get slow going against San Diego State. They're a really good defensive team. His scoring production can help MJ Collins, Mason Falls live out. So I think he's going to be big as an X factor. San Diego State is led by Reese Dixon Waters, averaging 12.6 points per game and 3.6 rebounds. Miles Bird averaging 10.8 points per game, 4.4 rebounds and 2 steals, 1.2 blocks. And Magoon Guaf, he only played 5 minutes last game against Colorado State in a loss, which shout out Colorado State. They continued their high streak. They're now up to 6 games straight after beating Fresno State. But Magoon Guaf averaging 8.7 points per game, 4.1 rebounds, and 1.6 blocks. Now, that X factor to me is going to be Miles Heidi. I don't know if Magoon Guaf, quote unquote, injury, because I didn't see an injury today, is going to prolong into tonight, but I put him just in case to add depth down low. But I'm going with Utah State, man. I do think Utah State is the cream of the crop in this conference. I do think they could win on the road or at home. I think they only have like 1 home loss this year, and I want to say they're like 7-2 on the road this season. They're just an overall good team in the Mountain West. And not for nothing, I think San Diego State scoring droughts can really harm them. I think it really harmed them against Grand Canyon not too long ago. I think that was last week at home. And I think it can harm them against the Utah State team who could put up points with the best of them in this conference, even though they're at home. So I'm going to take Utah State to win this game and have a huge stronghold. Yeah, they're 7-3 on the road, 12-1 at home, and have a huge stronghold over first place in the conference. They will be 2.5 games in front of New Mexico. My apologies. But, yeah, I think they win this ball game. And with 3 games after this, hold a 2-game lead. And they play New Mexico at home to end the year. So that's a big ball game there. But we'll move on to tomorrow's games. We have 2 for tomorrow. We have, to start, my Michigan State Spartans taking on the Purdue Boilers, 13th ranked Michigan State at 8th ranked Purdue. That game is 8 o'clock on Peacock. Now, Michigan State is obviously led by Jeremy Fears. Jeremy Fears is averaging 15 points per game, 9.2 assists, and 1.3 steals, who didn't have a particularly great game against Ohio State. I can't lie there. He made some plays here and there, but I just feel like Ohio State did a really good job of not allowing him to get to the basket as much. We're led by Jackson Kolar, who got into super foul trouble early, averaging 12.3 points per game and 9.3 rebounds. And Cohen Carr averaging 11.6 points per game and 5.3 rebounds per game. Now, the X factor is actually who was the X factor against Ohio State coming off a 20-point game. Carson Cooper. Carson Cooper is going to have to score and rebound the ball very well against a Purdue team who doesn't have the size of the latter year Purdue teams, but they do have some size on them. He's averaging 10.3 points per game and 7.4 rebounds per game. Now, Purdue, they're led by Braden Smith. Braden Smith is a point guard. I mean, some people say the best point guard in the league, in the country. That's why I disagree. I still, like I said it in previous videos, I still like Braden Smith, but I think he's a tad overrated when you say he's the best point guard in the country, because we got some point guards in the country that can go. You saw one last night in Donovan Dent go crazy against USC. But I digress. 14.9 points per game, 3.8 rebounds per game, 8.7 assists, and 1.9 steals. Trey Kaufman-Renn averaging 13 points per game and 9 rebounds per game, and Fletcher Loyer averaging 13.6 points per game. Now, that X factor to me is going to be CJ Cox and his ability to score averaging 7.9 points per game, and he's going to play some defense along the perimeter. But ultimately, I do think that the defensive part may be a team effort, considering that teams are starting to go a little bit more zone on Michigan State. Ohio State went zone against Michigan State a good bit Sunday in the loss, but nonetheless, man, that was a great way to escape. But anyway, my winner, you can call me a homer, even though it's tough for us to go into Mackey Arena and win. At 6.5 point dogs, I'm taking Michigan State, man. And I said it before, and I'll say it again. Purdue doesn't look the same when they don't have a Zach Edey-esque type player on their team. And I mean, you've seen Purdue drop some games or be in some games that were pretty questionable. So I think this Michigan State team can go into Mackey Arena and play a tough, hard-nosed defensive game and come out with the victory. So I'm taking Michigan State. Hopefully, Jeremy Fears can get to the cup with Oscar Clough and Trey Kaufman-Renn down low. Even though I don't really see Trey Kaufman-Renn as really a threat down low defensively. Now, offensively, he does have some moves a little bit, but defensively, not really. But we can attack the paint. That allow maybe some kickouts for a Jordan Scott, a Kurt Hang, maybe even a Jackson Kolar. Jackson Kolar could bring people out on the perimeter. Give me Michigan State to win this ball game in Mackey Arena against Purdue. Now, the last game I have for y'all is a battle for first place, or to be a two-way battle for first place in the Big West. We have UC Irvine taking on Cal State Northridge, CSUN for short. This game is tomorrow at 10 o'clock on ESPN Plus, and Cal State Northridge on a 7-game win streak is actually 1.5-point favorites against this UC Irvine team. Now, this UC Irvine team is led by Jurian Dixon, who's averaging 15.6 points per game and 1.1 steals. Cal Evans averaging 12.2 points per game, 8.8 rebounds, 3.4 blocks, which is insane. And Andre Henry, who, as I remember, just been in his whole career, he's averaging 9.4 points per game. Now, their X factor to me is going to be Elijah Chol, and he's going to add size in the paint, which they have the severe size advantage over Cal State Northridge. So that's why I have him as my X factor. Now, CSUN, they're led by Larry Hughes Jr., Larry Hughes II. He's averaging 18.2 points per game and 1.6 steals. Josiah Davis averaging 14.8 points per game, 4.4 rebounds, 7.3 steals, and 1.2 steals, 7.3 assists. I don't know if I said that. Joshua Ogaro averaging 13.9 points per game, 9.4 rebounds, and 1.1 steals per game. Now, that X factor to me is going to be Mahmoud Fofana and his ability to help rebounding with Ogaro and his ability to score. He's averaging 11.5 points per game and 7.9 rebounds per game. And they're going to have to rebound by committee against this UC Irvine, who, like I said, has the size advantage. But I'm ultimately going with UC Irvine to win this ball game. Now, I get it. It's Cal State Northridge on a 7-game win streak. They have beaten a team with size in Hawaii. They've beaten some teams. They've beaten some good teams. I can't lie. They have some good wins in the 7-game win streak. And shout out to them for that. But again, I just think the size for UC Irvine is a little too much to overcome for Cal State Northridge, even though they got guys they can depend on scoring. They have 4 different guys averaging over double digits in scoring. I just think UC Irvine's size is a little too much. So I'm going to go with UC Irvine to win this and be tied with, I believe, Hawaii atop the Big West. Hawaii has a game tomorrow, too. Let's see. Hawaii plays UC Davis tomorrow on the road. So that's a game to watch because, again, you have 2 teams tied atop first place going at it against each other. And then you have Hawaii, another team, tied atop first place with them. Got to see how that works out. And the season's coming to an end soon. I want to say their season actually comes to an end this week. Let's see. Nope. They have 3 games after this. So Hawaii plays UC Riverside, Long Beach State, and not in order, by the way, and Cal State Fullerton in the year. CSUN or Cal State Northridge. They play UC Riverside after this, and then they play Bakersfield, Cal State Bakersfield, and Cal State Fullerton. And UC Irvine finishes the year with Santa Barbara, which is another good game. Santa Barbara got Ada Mahaney from UConn, from St. Mary's first, then UConn. Cal Poly, who's actually been playing really good basketball of lately, and UC Davis. So UC Irvine probably has the hardest schedule remaining. So UC Irvine actually needs this win. But that's all the games I got for y'all today. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps the channel. It helps the network. Speaking of network, we are a network, and we have multiple shows on the network. We have the main show featuring Joe, Tomo, and Dave. They go live on Mondays and Thursdays from 7 to about 8:30ish. So make sure you check them out. Also, we have Unfazed, who's actually going live in 20 minutes. They're supposed to be going live. Now, I don't know what they're talking about, but that's featuring Joe and AJ. So make sure you tune in to Unfazed next. Should be a fun episode. Speaking of, they are talking about NBA MVP favorites, East and West contenders, and some Cinderella teams. So there we go. I just got the topics as I say that. So shout out Unfazed. We have BWT, Baseball with Teddy. Spring training is upon us. We have the World Baseball Classic coming up shortly, and the regular season, I think, starts in like a month. So be on the lookout for BWT in full effect come baseball season. We have FFC, Fantasy Football with, Coach Coombs, where the NFL season is obviously over. Combine is starting to take place. Be on the lookout for whatever content he brings you towards the offseason of the NFL. We have RBO, Real Ballers Only, featuring Vaughn, NBA show. Pistons took a loss to the Spurs on Monday. We played the Thunder tonight. We actually played them in about an hour. So we need this one. It's a tough game, though. But make sure you look out for RBO. We have Dave's Doghouse, highlights and lowlights of sport. We have Empty Red Corner, who just went live this past Sunday. They go live on Sundays, not every Sunday, but when they do go live, it is on Sundays. It's a boxing show, boxing episodes provided to you by Ty, Ricky, and Tomo. They go live on around 6:30. And we have Zero Sports Talk with Griffey again, new show. I don't think he's gone live yet. Most of his shows have been pre-recorded. So just be on the lookout for those pre-recorded episodes to drop. But please like, comment, share, subscribe to those shows as well as mine. It helps the channel. Like I said, it helps the network. And if you like what you listen to, stick with us. But that's all I got for y'all today. And until Saturday, we should have a ton of games to go over Saturday. I'm gone. Peace.
Thank you for staying to the end. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like this video, subscribe, and also hit that notification button so you can be notified next time we put out a video. If you're listening on any podcast platform, subscribe and hit that notification button, y'all, so you can be notified we put out another podcast audio. And last but not least, hit that share button. No matter what you're listening to or watching it, hit that share button and send it to somebody that you know that would love to watch this episode you just listened to. So once again, thank you for staying to the end, and we'll see y'all in the next episode.